channel. I'm Jeanette Andromeda, and today I'm going to teach you how to record and edit a stop-motion painting video. Let's jump in. Oh wait, before we jump in, I also want to let you know this is the hardcore version of how to record and edit a stop-motion painting video. Because I have a lot of equipment. So I'm going to show you what my setup is right now. And then in a couple weeks, I will do a version 2 of this tutorial on how to do it on as small of a budget as possible. But for today, here's pro mode for you. First, we have the gear. Welcome to my office. It is a tiny corner of a kind of packed room because Alexander and I share an office. I just wanted to start by showing you the equipment that is necessary. I have a ring light. I have a Sony a6300 that I record on, and I actually use my cell phone, hi guys, as a remote monitor. I use an app called Play Memories Mobile. I use my cell phone as a remote monitor and a way to have a remote trigger. That way I don't have to push the button to actually take a photo, because that could move the camera and then mess up the composition. Okay, so now I have my camera and my light stand set up to actually record the surface of my desk. So there is the horizontal stand with the light ring attached to it, and then you're also going to need one of these. But this is important because this part loosens up so you can actually readjust how the camera hangs. That way you can make that flatter than the actual ring light. Then you need to set up your work area. So I have this glitter cardstock that I use as my background. It's starting to show its age, unfortunately. And then you're also going to need all of your painting supplies right next to you. So I have a big collection of acrylics. I have the canvas I'm going to work on. I have some mini canvases that I have an idea for. I have my palette, some paper towels, some water, and my paintbrushes. And then you need to listen to the song, because the pacing and mood of the song is going to affect not just the artwork, but anything you do in the interim. So for example, I have these transitions from my collaboration with Frankie. You can see the pieces of paper piling up and obscuring where I have the next piece of the painting about to come in and then flying away, because I wanted that emotion to come through. Because one thing you can do better with stop motion painting that you can't do with just a regular speed draw is tell more of a story.
So let him go. Now you can see me.
So, first thing, listen to your song. Think about the pacing. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is there a lot of like pop, 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 pop beats to cut to? Because that will be helpful once you get into editing. I think the music is insanely important. So I am going to be using a piece from the album Andromeda by TheBigBadBonnie. And here's the title of that song. And we're going to listen to just a couple seconds of it. What the goal is with listening to the music is you need to understand the pacing of it. Is it fast or is it slow? And that will affect what you do in the actual editing of this. Then you want to plan out your video. So, I already know this song has a lot of like catchy, peppy beat things, and I had an idea as I was listening to it that I thought would be really cool. So I'm going to start by playing with these different mini canvases to create some sort of a dance, basically. And what'll happen is I will click, take a picture. Move everything just a little bit. Click, take a picture. Click, take a picture. You get the idea. Every time you move something, you have to take a picture. So once you have an idea of how things are piecing together, then you can get into the actual artwork. And one of the things that I found really helpful was to start with kind of a trick, like what I just showed you, something kind of playful, something about getting set up. In the Frankie collab, I actually unzipped my pouch full of tools and then slowly animated them running away and getting set up. I think it just kind of adds to, again, that kind of magic. It's almost like the pencil itself is alive and starting to sketch things out. The next step is to actually get started on your painting. And you're just going to paint it the way you normally do, except after every stroke, you're going to stop, take your hands out of the screen, and take a photo. This is how to edit your stop motion painting video. It starts in Photoshop. So first I need to open up one of these photos. So since I had all of this set up a certain way, they're all going to be upside down. And rather than in the software for editing, flip every single video clip or photo clip, because that will take forever, I can use this function in Photoshop called batch processing. Grab a couple photos from various parts of your actual process. That way, you'll kind of have bullet points for where everything starts and ends. Because your values are going to change as you go through, so you need to make sure that at all of these kind of pivotal moments in your video, they're going to look correct. Because you're going to have to do different changes for each stage of your painting. So now that you have a bunch of those selected, you need to copy them and go back into a different folder and paste them. Now I have 13 photos I need to go through. I will show you the process for one of them, and then you'll get the idea of how to do all of them. Okay, so now we have a photo to work with. And now I need to create an action. So over here, usually in Photoshop you have a history tab, you need to have your actions tab. I'm going to go into my Andromeda folder, and I am going to create a new action. And I am going to call it flip. Or maybe stop motion flip. And now I'm going to record this. So now whatever I do to this image is going to be a recorded action that I can recreate on any photo that I'm working on in the future. So first I'm going to flip this. So image rotation, 180. So that flips it right side up. Now over here in the corner, I can actually see a little bit of my desk, and I really don't want that because it just looks sloppy. So what I'm going to do is actually transform this image so that it's a little bit bigger and a little bit corrected in the perspective. So I have to create a new layer, which is Control-J, or you can right-click on the layer and do duplicate layer. Once I'm on that, I can hit Control-T to actually transform this. Right-click on your image, go down to perspective. Now I can just bring that up a little bit. That widens the base, and I know my camera was a little off on its perspective because I didn't have it exactly level, so now I can fix that. So hit enter and then Control E to flatten all of your layers down here. And then we want to adjust our colors a little bit because it looks a little washed out. So what I need to do is go into my corrective layers, and I want to change my levels a little bit. So you see these peaks? This means it's heavy on the dark, the midtones aren't really there, and then the whites aren't really white. So I want to bring this down so that the whites are a lot brighter, and bring my midtones up a little bit. That way you still have detail, Once it's looking a little bit better, then I can Control E to collapse everything in the layers again, and then Control S to save. And I want it on as high of a quality as possible, and we can work with JPEGs, so we're going to do that. Now, we're still recording actions, so we want to hit stop, and we have an action recorded. I'm going to make a duplicate copy of that folder just in case the batch process doesn't look good, and I want to have a backup folder of it. That's always a good habit to do. And now we can actually batch process the stop motion art over here. So we go over to File, Automate, Batch. We select the set, which for me is Andromeda. We select the action, which is stop motion flip. And then we are going to choose the folder. So we need to go into here, stop motion art. Okay. So here we have a couple options, and I like to have it on save and close just so it'll kind of pop through everything and then close it all and I can look at it after. So pay attention to here. If you have subfolders in there with things that you don't want changed, you want to unselect that. Otherwise, literally every photo that's in that category is going to be batch processed. I don't care about that right now, so I'm going to leave it on. Suppress file open options and suppress color profile warnings. That's helpful because otherwise you'll be in the middle of a batch, walk away, come back, and then, oh, there was an error, so you're actually not done. So I have all that selected, and now I can click OK. And now it's just going to run and fix everything for me. Sometimes I will have to go in and still kind of adjust some of my levels so that I can actually see things, but basically, I can just walk away from my computer for a little while it does the work for me. Once Photoshop is done batch processing, we move on to the actual editing. And now we are going into Sony Vegas Pro. I am currently editing in version 14. So Sony Vegas Pro normally costs about $1,000, and the one that I want to learn how to use, because I think it would be important for you guys to know how to use, is Final Cut Pro, which is about $300 instead of $1,000 plus for video editing software. But for the moment, this is what I'm using, so I'm teaching you on Sony Vegas Pro. We are going to create a new project, and I want it to be in 1920 by 1080p. That is the video format that YouTube likes. So high HD and then 29 frames per second, so 30 frames per second is what it generally likes. I'm going to say OK. And we are going to save as, so we can actually name it. And we're going to name this Stop Motion Tutorial. So this is the media I get to use. And then I'm also going to import all of those dang photos we just edited. And we just go through and select all of them. So over here on the left, I can choose which type of content I want to work with. So I'm going to start with audio. I'm going to select the song I'm going to edit to. And then I need to right-click, insert a video track, go into stills, and now is for the fun part. But first, we need to change our preferences. So we are going to go to Options, Preferences, and this allows us to get super nitty-gritty with this software. All I need to do right now, though, is go into Editing, and then I need to find the part that says New Still Image Length. And I want it to be 1 second. So that's 30 frames, which actually is a lot, so I'm going to do half a second. So 0.5. And this is where I usually listen to the song a couple times with different frames per second, because sometimes you want it really fast, sometimes you want it slower. Whatever frame rate you put this in, it should feel right with the music. And that's why I think it's important to edit stop motion videos to music. So now that I have that selected, now I can drag all of these photos in and we can see where I'm at. So I can go a little bit faster with my preset here because I have this huge chunk of video down at the end that doesn't have any music underneath it. So I can just undo, go back into options, preferences, editing, and I'm going to make it even slower, so I'm going to make it a quarter speed, so 0.25. That's going to be 7 frames per image. So now once again, select all of your photos, drag them in, and look at that. That's going to be way too short, so I went way too short with that. So we can continue to adjust until we find the right frame rate for the images that we collected. And there we go. Now we found a pretty good frame rate. Down at the end we're going to have a little bit without actual music, but I think it'll be fine. So once you have the video actually edited together, you need to export it. So you will have to go to File, Render As, and then you want to pick the preset for YouTube. I actually created a preset for this, and I will show you that, but first we need to go into where we want this video to be saved. And this one I'm actually going to title Bite-Sized Beatdown. Pick where you want it to go. Save. And then let's take a look at this template real quick just so I can show you that. I selected a template called Internet 1920 by 1080p 30p. We need AVC, high definition, so it's 1920 by 1080. Frame rate is 29. Pixel aspect and all that. If you want to just freeze frame right here so you get all the right output settings, go for it. And then we'll click OK. I'm gonna select my initial one and I'm going to render. And now you can again walk away from your computer while it renders because it's gonna take a little bit. And that, my dear friends, is how to record and edit a stop-motion painting video. If you do try this process, please let me know, whether it's in the comment section below or you can @ me, and I will definitely take a look at it. I want to see what everyone makes with this tutorial, and I'll be super proud, and I will definitely share it around because, oh my gosh. So, if you need any of the equipment that I talked about in this video, I will have a link in the description below that goes to a kit.com website. And what that is I collected all of the listings of the equipment and software that I used and put it all in one nice neat place for you to find. If you do buy anything through those links, thank you. You are helping to support me and my channel by purchasing stuff for yourself. And how that happens is I am an affiliate for Amazon.com, and what that means is Amazon will share a tiny piece of the sale with me without any extra cost to you because I sent you there. So thank you. And if you are interested in buying prints of the piece of artwork that I just created in this video, I also have that in the description below because I need to start selling art instead of just hoarding it, as you can tell. I have a problem with the hoarding of art that I make. Thank you for watching, and I will see y'all next week. Bye!